Hey there, this is Miss Esposito. I'm teaching the math lesson for today. What you're going to need to have with you is the paper from your notes called Statements of Inequality. It has student handout number 5 at the top. It is number 12. And then I am also going to do number 13 today. Okay? So you need page 12 and 13 for the lesson today. We're going to talk about inequalities, and I think this might be a review for you. So just hang out with me, and maybe this will be a pretty short video. All right, at the top it says use the pictures below to write 2 statements of comparison. And as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 robots, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 game controllers. So one statement of comparison that I could write, because we're comparing these two, is there is one more robot than controller. Or you could put there is one less controller than robots. And that's just 2 statements of comparison using that image. All right. The next part says an inequality statement, and we're going to write describes the 2 values in comparison to each other. They also describe the position of 2 numbers on the number line. For example, 0 is less than 5. Really, another way to look at that is 0 is to the left of 5. 0 is to the left of 5. Now, I know maybe in the past we've always talked about how Pac-Man or the alligator eats the bigger number, which is the case here. But if you think about on a number line, it's going to tell me which direction it is. So in this case, 0 is to the left because it's pointing to the left of 5. All right, let's do number 1 and 2 together, and then I'm going to have you guys do 3 and 4. Number 1 down here says write 2 inequality statements about each of the number lines below. So one of the statements I could write is 1 is less than 5. But the other one that I could write, 5 is greater than 1. Or we could read it, 1 is to the left of 5, 5 is to the right of 1. If we look at number 2, the 2 statements here are going to be -1 is to the left of 3, or -1 is less than 3. Or you could say 3 is to the right of -1, or 3 is greater than -1. I'm going to let you guys do 3 and 4, and then we'll check them. All right, let's check 3 and 4. You should have written for number 3, -5 is less than -3, or -3 is greater than -5. Or you could say to the left and to the right. In this case, we have -4 is less than 0, 0 is greater than -4. And again, we can use to the left or to the right there to help us. All right, on the next page, if we are translating the inequality to a written statement, inequalities can also be, and this is going to be translated to make a written statement. So in questions 5 through 8, it wants us to translate the inequality to a written statement. So this inequality in number 5 says -15 is less than -3. The next one, number 6, I'll do for you, and then I'm going to have you guys do the other two. -3 is less than 8. And now you guys do 7 and 8 in your ed puzzle. All right, let's check number 7 and 8. For number 7, we get -9 is greater than -21. And number 8, we should have -1 is greater than -2. Okay, let's move down to questions 9 through 12. On questions 9 through 12, place the numbers on the number line and then describe the relationship between the 2 points on the number line. So in these problems for the ed puzzle, you won't be able to actually place them on the number line, but you will be able to describe the position or the relationship. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and make my number line here. And I know that -9 is going to be about here, and -3 will be a little bit closer to 0 than -9. And so my description, what I would write for this is -9 is to the left of -3. When we're talking about relationship on a number line, they want us to describe the position here. So here we have 0 and -2.5, 0 and -2.5. Again, I'm going to say 0 is to the right of -2.5. All right, you guys go ahead and do number 11 and 12. However, note that in number 11 and number 12, you're going to have to turn that fraction into a decimal by dividing. Okay, I'm going to do this on a separate sheet of paper for number 11 because I want to make sure that we can do these division problems without a calculator. So you have 14 thirds, and it's negative. And again, when we're dividing, the negative is not going to matter, okay? But I have 14 divided by 3. So at this point, I'm going to take 3 into 14, and 3 divided into 14 will go 4 times. 3 times 4 is 12. And then we subtract and we get 2. Well, in order to bring down, I have to add a decimal and a 0. So in this case, we have to add a decimal so that I can bring something down. All right, 3 goes into 20. 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18. We subtract and we get 2. We have to do another 0. We've got to do another bring down. And as you can see, I'm just going to keep getting 6s. So -14 thirds is the same as -4.6 repeating. And remember that little line on the top means that 6 repeats. Okay? And you guys did not have to put this on a number line, but I know that negative 4.6 is going to be to the left of negative 2. And so that's how I would write it. Negative 4.6 is to the left of negative 2. All right, quickly I'm going to do 15 divided by 4. And you have 15 divided by 4. 4 goes into 15 3 times. 4 times 3 is 12. We subtract, we get 3. Again, you have to have a decimal here in order to add your 0. 4 goes into 30 7 times. 7 times 4 is 28. And we subtract and we get 2. We have 0. Bring it down. 4 goes into 25 times. So we have 3.75 is the same as 15 fourths. 3.75. I'm going to mark that out so that we don't get so confused. All right. And I know that 3.7 is to the left of 3.75. So I can kind of put this here. This will be 3.7. This will be 3.75. Oh, and my 0 is going to be way over here. I kind of messed that up a little bit. So we would write 3.7 is to the left of 3.75. Okay, I'm going to let you guys answer number 13 and 14 on your Ed puzzle, and then we'll come back and discuss those. Okay, for number 13, one of the things that I noticed when a number is less than another number is that the smaller number is always on the left. The smaller number is always on the left when we are looking at less than. Okay, what do you notice for when a number is greater than another number? Well, in this case, the larger number is always on the right. Okay, you guys can summarize today's lesson in 1 or 2 sentences on your paper, and I will see you in class.